how to stop needing women. And you know what? Men as well. Men as well for that fact, guy friends too. How to basically stop needing everyone, actually. I've been thinking lately how I really don't give a fuck about anyone and how I really don't need anyone. And how there used to be periods of time in my life where I did, like where I was dependent on people coming through for me and nervous, like what happens if I lose my guy friends and, what happens if my girlfriend leaves me or whatever. But as time goes on and you start to see kind of how worthless and opportunistic people are, you start to kind of appreciate them less and less and have less and less need and value for them. Because at the end of the day, everyone's pretty much selfish. Most people are opportunistic. They're living in their own little narcissistic bubble. And they're always gonna, they're brainwashed and conditioned to not appreciate and build relationships and value people for who they are, through sickness and health, through rich and poor, but to always constantly trade them in like a used car and upgrade to a new one. And we all know women are notorious for this, right? We all know women are fucking veterans when it comes to this shit. But, once you kind of figure people out and you figure out the game, it kind of becomes like very easy to just live without people because most of them are just like straight up cancer anyway. You can kind of just cut them out and you'll be better off. One very effective strategy for learning how to get over people, let's say women or whatever, is to just force yourself when you're feeling weak and needy and you really want to talk to them. You just force yourself not to, and you just open yourself up and let the pain flow through you. See, you don't try to bury the pain. You don't try to push it away and pretend you're fine. You let it flow through you, and eventually it will leave your body. It's like if you take a big inhale on like a cigarette or some weed or something, the smoke just kind of flows through you, and then eventually you exhale and it all just kind of comes out of you, to never return. It's funny, like, I'm going to give you guys some backstory. I grew up as an only child, right? So I didn't have any brothers or sisters. My dad left when I was a kid, so my mom was always working. So I had a lot of time to just sit back and watch people. I had friends as a kid. I was fairly popular, but I was antisocial at the same time. People were always drawn to me. But I always was studying them. I'm very fascinated by studying, people's personalities and what makes them tick and, the human psyche and all that. And one thing I noticed is that the people who grew up around a lot of people, people who had brothers and sisters and both parents, a lot of them were actually much weaker willed than the kids like me who grew up without anyone, who were kind of forced to grow up on their own and become their own person. Because when you always have a support system your whole life, the first time it gets taken away from you, you start to lose your shit because you're so used to being pampered and coddled, and women are like this too. That's why they hop from guy to guy, because they're too afraid to be alone. So the women who actually were forced to grow up alone actually have a lot more common sense and can actually be more faithful to their man. The ones who always were just coddled and pampered, the second they're having a fight with their boyfriend, they run away and cheat on him with someone else because they just couldn't handle being alone for 2 seconds. So what I'm trying to say is how to not need women, how to not need your friends, how to not need people is, step one, understand that most of them are shallow, manipulative pieces of shit anyway. How many of your friends have let you down when you truly needed them? Most people let you down. You're always going through new friends and new women because most people are just fucking degenerate pieces of shit. So the first step is to just accept that most people are mediocre and you don't really need them anyway. And they haven't really earned their keep. They haven't really done anything so magnificent. Every now and then you make a rare friend that actually deserves to be your friend and will actually come through for you when you need them and will stick with you through thick and thin. But most people aren't like that. Most people are parasites anyway. So when they start giving you problems, remember that. Number two is, especially when you're feeling weak, that's when you force yourself to distance yourself from people while still keeping your heart open to the pain that's going to come with that, if you see what I'm saying. So you force yourself to stay away from them. and you open yourself up. You don't bury the pain that comes with missing them. You let that flow through you while accepting the fact that you're still gonna stick to your guns and do what you know is right deep down, no matter how painful it is. But at the same time, you're not gonna kid yourself. You're not going to delude yourself and pretend like you're not feeling pain. You're not missing them. You don't wish they could be something they're not. You don't wish they could have been a better person. Those are all natural feelings, but you have to accept the reality that it's not going to be that way. You know, we all have these images in our minds of what we wish people could be and what we think they should be. And for the most part, we're right in what they should be. But that just because that's what they should be, and just because that's what we want them to be, that doesn't mean that's what they are. And we have to look at them as they are and accept that, and be willing to let go of that instead of trying to change them and improve them and put the pieces of the puzzle together. What if I did this? What if I did that? The point is, it doesn't matter anymore, because it is what it is, and you are where you are, and you need to let go. You need to let go and move on, in a healthy way, without trying to bury or suppress, your emotions. But, I'm not going to lie. I do kind of have an advantage because I grew up in isolation. So I was never really too attached from the start. This is probably going to be a lot harder for people that always had a support system their whole life. And so they're always, when they lose their support system, they're jumping to a new one. That people that always need to be around people, those super extrovert. It's funny, to me, extroverts are actually the weakest people, because they always need to be around people. They don't have the self-discipline to go isolate themselves and find themselves and see what they're really made of. They always have to hop to a new bar. They always have to go to a new club. They always have to have new friends. They always have to be doing, because they're afraid to confront what's really within. An introvert will lock themselves away and face their demons and then come out of it stronger, ready to take on the world. I'll notice a lot of extroverted people are just people who are too scared and weak to face themselves. So that's really the moral of the story, is cut everyone out, isolate yourself and deal with your problems by yourself and face them and slay that dragon within you, and then come out a much stronger person. Stop leaning on people. Everyone's leaning on everybody, so no one's really trying to help anyone, because everyone's trying to lean on everyone to help them. So you have a society of a bunch of scared, starving people all trying to suck the blood out of each other, but then none of them have any blood in them to suck out anyway. You isolate yourself, you deal with your own problems, you become internally rich. You develop a healthy, rich inner world, inner mind, and no one can take that away from you. You are now richer than most millionaires. If you're rich mentally, if you've cultivated a healthy mindset that keeps you at peace, you're richer than most millionaires now, because money can't buy that. And going out and being an extrovert and trying to make new friends all the time and be popular, that can't help you face your demons either, because you're always running away. So the answer is to stop running away, cut all these bullshit people out of your life, and face your problems by yourself, and face them for as long as you have to until you finally overcome them. That's really the answer. That's how you stop needing women. That's how you stop needing everyone.